The Denver Nuggets are one win away from the NBA Finals after taking a 3-0 series lead over the Los Angeles Lakers. The Nuggets have been the most complete team in the playoffs in my opinion, even more so than the Heat and definitely more so than the Celtics. Other than not being able to outscore nuclear Devin Booker in a couple of games, the Nuggets have made it to this point relatively unchallenged. It's really exciting that a team like the Nuggets, who don't enjoy the same amount of acknowledgement from the basketball world as other big market teams despite their winning and success, finally get the recognition they deserve. They've made it to the point where all eyes are on them, and their greatness can't be mistaken, and so far, they've been delivering. They haven't lost a home game so far in the playoffs, and have favored well going this far without any setbacks or injuries within their main rotations. In the 14 games of the playoffs so far, Nikola Jokic is averaging 30, 13, and 10. That's right, he's averaging a triple-double in the playoffs, on 62% true shooting. This isn't super related, and I don't want to give them too much attention, but there's a whole section of the NBA community that's not going to want to identify this 2023 playoff run by Nikola Jokic as an all-time dominant stretch of play because he just doesn't pass their eye test, I guess. The reasons can vary as to why Jokic is frequently discounted, whether it be his slow-footedness, lack of defensive prowess, or a flashy playstyle, but the way this large Serbian man has transcended how one can operate an offense from the 5 position and pick apart defenses with overwhelming efficiency, precision, and intelligence is every bit as dominant as someone who uses their body to take over games and control physical space to shut out opponents. No more really needs to be said about Jokic, honestly, in general. I think if the Nuggets win the championship this year, he won't really have anything still to genuinely prove. After having so many people detract from his personal success over the past 2.5 years, demanding that he win in the postseason despite having a crippled roster and subpar ancillary pieces, he's now got his boys back and they're steamrolling the competition. But that's getting ahead of myself, and regardless, championships aren't won alone, so let me give some praise to the other dudes who have been balling out. At the top of that list is Jamal Murray, who, specifically in this Lakers series, has undergone a biblical-esque revival as he became an absolute flamethrower through the second half of Game 2 and into the first half of Game 3. He really got things going in the fourth quarter of Game 2, where he scored 23 points, shooting 86% from the field, and then picked up right where he left off, shooting 75% on his way to scoring 30 points by halftime in Game 3. In fairness to the Lakers, it's really hard to win games, even if you're doing the right things, when a player just becomes that scorching hot to the point where it seems like they genuinely can't miss, especially when said player isn't even the generational playmaker on the team. This is not to bail the Lakers out from the errors they've made so far, but I'll get to that when I'm finished talking about the Nuggets. Other than Super Saiyan Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., aka the man who never met a shot he didn't like, has been a crucial part of Denver's success this postseason. He's averaged 15 points and 9 rebounds against the Lakers and shot 50% from 3 at a relatively high volume. His combination of a high release point and lots of elevation on his jump shot, along with his 6'10 body and 7-foot wingspan, make him virtually unguardable when shooting. And despite his slender frame, he's not a pushover and can even be seen getting to the rim and pushing others around to secure boards. Other smaller contributing pieces who are still equally important are Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, and Aaron Gordon. KCP has also averaged a solid 15 points on good efficiency and delivered a clutch 21 points in Game 3 to help repel a late-game push by the Lakers. Bruce Brown offers a lot of defensive versatility, allowing the Nuggets to go small while not dropping off on that end of the floor against the sheer size of LA. He also adds a spark to the team with his energy, athleticism, and ability to hit some timely threes. And then there's Aaron Gordon, the defensive stud, who it's been amazing to watch blossom since coming to Denver. He's been the Nuggets' primary isolation defender in these playoffs and has done a tremendous job in that regard. And on top of that, he also offers a bit of offensive versatility within the Nuggets system, being able to finish as a lob threat and a backdoor cutter. That about does it for Denver's primary rotation of 6 guys, so let's move it over to the Lakers. As for LA's camp, they've also had an incredible run so far these playoffs and have looked like the best defensive team in the league during this time. I've mentioned it in a previous video, but if you've been out of the loop, LA completely retooled their roster at the trade deadline and brought in a lot of size, defensive versatility, and some much needed shooting. The new look Lakers seem to always have someone that's able to step up and score a much needed 20 plus, along with hitting some timely shots, and that's especially needed when game to game dominance from Anthony Davis and LeBron James is less than a guarantee. Starting with AD, who without question has to be the Lakers' best player now. They just won't find much postseason success if they're relying on LeBron to consistently play with the clock turned back. Davis has struggled to string together consecutive dominant performances. At best, he'll give you a back-to-back, but that basically puts the Lakers automatically in a position where they have to fight in a close series regardless, because they can't fall back on a reliable AD game where he'll just take over and win it. He had a 40-point double-double in Game 1, but followed it up with an 18-point outing where he shot a nightmarish 27% from the field. If the Lakers want any hope of winning this series, or at least stretching things out into a close fight, Anthony Davis has to be more consistent. Now, about LeBron James, who has been alright to even pretty good so far in these playoffs, but has been not great against the Nuggets. He's honestly been doing a pretty decent job offensively, averaging just shy of 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists, and has regained some life on the defensive end, even guarding Jokic one-on-one really well in Game 3. A lot of people criticized LeBron for his lack of defensive intensity over the past 2 seasons, and they're not wrong. Certainly he didn't pass whatever eye test he might have had, but that was on a significantly worse Lakers team without Anthony Davis, so LeBron basically had to run the entire offense, and that already left him gassed on defense when he was younger about 6 to 8 years ago in Cleveland while trying to get a ring with those JV squads, so there really shouldn't have been any genuine expectation for him to truly been able to do both. But now that the Lakers are better, he's able to do less on offense and thus at times give more on defense. A symptom of old man LeBron, however, is that he settles for jump shots a lot more than trying to get to the rim, even though that's still extremely efficient for him. It's understandable, it just hurts to watch when he keeps chucking up threes and they won't go in. I mean, seriously, he shot 24% over the playoffs, it's been rough. But you kind of just have to live with that when LeBron is getting older, because he's still doing all the other stuff pretty damn well. The last thing I want to say about LeBron is you can't be amazed by all the incredible things he's still able to do and then criticize him when he doesn't show up at that level in a way that ignores the overall grander context. It's insane that LeBron James can still reverse windmill dunk while on a fast break because 38-year-olds who are 20 seasons in aren't supposed to be able to do that. So it's really exhausting that when he finally loses the ball and lets it slip, that suddenly this is the moment LeBron fell off, or the moment he started looking old. It's just dumb and really not consistent at all. It's perfectly fine to criticize any player at any age, but if you're going to be awestruck by what he can do despite age, mileage, and injury, you can't ignore all that stuff when it comes time to critique. Anyways, some guys that deserve a few words as well are Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura. The former of which, Reaves, has been without a shadow of a doubt the best rotation guy for the Lakers in this postseason. He's averaged 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists while being lights out from three-point land, and he's also a tenacious defender to the best of his abilities. The dude has been playing his heart out and is fighting to get paid, which I respect greatly. I honestly hope it happens too, because he's someone the Lakers really shouldn't lose. Rui Hachimura, again, has been really good for the Lakers since they acquired him at the trade deadline. He's been a bit less impactful through the playoffs than Reaves, not that I'm trying to make any point because the Lakers need everything they can get, but he's elevated his play in this Denver series while offering his size and versatility in the Lakers' attempts to fight off the dynamicness of the Nuggets' offense. Dennis Schroeder has also been pretty cool in the playoffs and is usually doing something that's a net benefit, except his shooting, because that's been really not great. And then there's Jared Vanderbilt. I thought the Vandalorian would be having a lot more involvement this late in the playoffs, but he's not, and honestly hasn't been super impactful since early in the Golden State Warriors series. Against the Nuggets, he's just been doing a lot of cardio and getting played off the floor. The only other person worth mentioning is D'Angelo Russell, who has been mediocre really as a starting point guard in the postseason, and has just been straight up bad against the Nuggets. I don't know what his future is like with the Lakers, but after playing his way into a longer-term role than initially planned by LA, he may have honestly played his way out of that position. We'll just have to see. A lot of people made a big deal of the fact that the teams in the conference finals are the same ones as the bubble in 2020. And while they're saying that in a way of validating the bubble, I think it's just kind of dumb and it's not helping its case at all. As a staunch defender of the bubble, let's see. Denver's better, LA's a completely different team, the Heat look different, and the Celtics, well, you got that one, but they've been in the same competitive position for the past 5 or 6 years, so that's not saying a whole bunch. There's just not much to accomplish by going, look, it's the same 4 teams as the bubble, see? Because it is, but it's not. And even if it was, Every season has its own unique set of circumstances that lead to teams being in the positions they are by the end that have nothing to do with the team itself. Alright, let's wrap this one up, shall we? I'm hoping this series is a bit more competitive by the end than it has been, but regardless, if you haven't been able to gather from the everything in this video, the Lakers are just a bit outgunned here. Coming up against a team that's got depth, pieces that are lethal and fit well within the overall system, and who honestly probably just want the championship more than the Lakers. I know that's a dumb, non-cemented in facts thing to say, but considering all that the Nuggets have been through in the past few seasons, and with how often they're underrated or counted out completely, I just think they're gonna fight tooth and nail for it. Lakers fans really shouldn't be too upset with their season. They went from being like 12th in the Western Conference with like 3 to 4 weeks left to beating the 2nd seed Grizzlies and the defending champs. I'm not going to parade around their victory over the Grizzlies because a fair amount of people saw them for what they were, but the Lakers were not the favorites against Golden State and they played really well. From out of the play-ins entirely to conference finals is a hell of an accomplishment in its own right. With a full offseason to get the new guys familiarized, some possible free agent signings, time for LeBron to recover because he has been playing on a chopped up foot, and the maybe possibility that Coach Darvin Ham gets sacked, there's a lot to look forward to for the Lake Show. I'm not rooting for Darvin Ham to get fired, by the way. I don't really have a strong opinion on it either way, to be honest. But when you look at all the other coach firings around the league and from more proven coaches, I just wouldn't be surprised. And admittedly, it's not like Coach Ham has really done anything to prove himself beyond a reasonable doubt. So with all that being said, I think the Denver Nuggets will win this series in 5 games and advance to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. I had some serious concerns with them during the final stretch of the season, but it's clear in retrospect that they just took their foot off the gas to be ready to go for the playoffs, and Nikola Jokic doesn't care about the MVP award, so he had very little inclination to stay as dominant as he was throughout the season once the 1 seed was essentially locked up. Alright, I hope you all liked this video. Now that I've graduated, I'm going to have a lot more time to be making content. I sort of put my ideas on the back burner while the playoffs are going so I can stay on top of that stuff, but when the season is concluded and we're all in a drought, I'm going to be coming out with a lot of different videos. I've already got a few of them planned out, so I'm really excited for that. Well, thanks for watching. Enjoy the playoffs, everyone. I'll be back soon, but until then, take care.